Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our monthly council meeting, November the 15th, 2021. I'd like to welcome my fellow councillors. Councillor Barb Ramsey is unable to be with us tonight. She's on another commitment. And we have our CAO, Rob Philpott, with us tonight. And we have, I think around the corner, yes, we have our Director of Finance with us, as well as our electrical engineer, Greg Goody, and the Director of Finance is Kristen Dunsford. And we welcome our viewers on YouTube and members of the media watching on YouTube. And we also have MLA Trish Altus with us tonight. Welcome to our monthly meeting and the City Council. And so we will continue on. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? We also welcome all of the viewers besides the media watching on YouTube. So moved by Councillor McDougall and seconded by Councillor Snow. All in favour say aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Okay. We'll continue on. Any conflicts of interest? I do not see any speaker lights on. We'll continue on. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? October 18, 2021, and a special council meeting of October 19, 2021, and November 2, 2021. Moved by Deputy Mayor McColeman and seconded by Councillor McFeely. Any questions? All in favour say aye. Aye. Contrary nay. Carried. Correspondence, it has been very, very busy. But that's, I'm not complaining. This is great. So many things going on, and it's getting close to that time of year. Christmas. Here's an invitation for the Christmas Daddy presentation. They're going to be in Spinnaker's Landing at 10:30 a.m. on the 17th, I believe it is. So we look forward to that. We also have, I attended a Base Advanced Technology Incorporated conference in downtown Summerside. There was great attendance there. And these are not in order, but the Remembrance Day Ceremony, we attended that. And it was very successful, a large crowd considering everything. And also we attended the one at the church services, and a number of councillors were at all of these anyway. The one at the church services for the Lest We Forget Committee. And the French Language School Board. A very nice thank you letter for the work that was done out there in regards to the traffic and South Drive and Glen Drive. And I know Councillor McDougall, you were pushing for that, but it was nice to hear a nice thank you letter thanking the city. And we all attended the one here last week or so in regards to the 100th anniversary of our electrical utility and the book that was released, and that was very successful, a large crowd in attendance. And the PEI Retired Teachers Association had their provincial annual meeting in Summerside, and I spent a couple hours at that. It was very interesting and a large crowd, and we thank Mr. Denman for his invitation to bring greetings from the city. And this morning we attended one at the East Prince Youth Development Centre in downtown Summerside, and it's part of the Holland College building, and they're completely new renovated quarters. Very, very nice. And ECBL, that's the Eastern Canadian Basketball League conference a few days ago, and that's going to be happening here in, I understand, in March, and it'll be quite a rivalry going around the Maritimes again. And Sean McCarville, we attended that today, as well as most councillors, for the welcoming of the C-115 Buffalo. And it was at the Heritage Park, and it was a great ceremony today. A lot of the search and rescue people from the past attended, and we thank Slemon Park and Sean McCardle and the veterans, everybody who volunteered there today, and also to try to get it here in Summerside, and they were successful. So that was a fairly busy time, but there's all kinds of other things there I'm not going to bring up, but were very important. A lot of birthdays and wedding anniversaries and special occasions, and many, many meetings, as councillors all know, because they attended them all. So we'll continue on. We'll hear, I guess, so was there going to be an amendment to the agenda? Councillor Adams, you were gonna go first, so people wouldn't have to sit here for all evening.
Yes, I was going to do the Bylaw Policy Review Committee first, if that is okay.
Is that a friendly
just
amendment by all
because
councillors?
Mr. Key is here. But-
Everybody agrees.
Okay, and just also, I'm wondering if we were going to move the Sunbank up as well.
Move which one, sorry?
Number 9, were we moving that up as well? Is there staff here to speak on that?
I'm easy if that's okay with council. The chair, Mr. Campbell, Councillor Campbell, no
I-
problem with that?
I didn't want to speak for you, Greg, but I just noticed he was here, so while we're at it, you want to?
Okay. Okay,
Right.
so the floor is yours, Councillor Adams, for,
Excellent, thank you, Your Worship, and thank you for changing that around. Okay, so we'll start first with the Bylaw Policy Review Committee section. And myself, Deputy Mayor McColeman, and Councillor Doiron met with Deputy CAO Gordon McFarlane and CAO Philpott recently. And to put this all together, I'm going to just go over a few things, and at the end, there's something that as a council we might want to sort of discuss and throw a few questions out there. More recently, staff presented council with options that may be helpful in addressing unsightly properties in the community. To that end, council directed staff to look at methods around taxation and stimulus programs as additional tools for council to use. More recently, the BPR committee reviewed a draft bylaw which contained an expanded definition of unsightly properties along with proposed wording on how to address these vacant properties. We are working through this draft and presenting it to council once we have it completed for the internal committee review. So we'll bring that back. And a reminder that the committee is reviewing processes for mobile food establishment license renewal and crosswalk maintenance. And we will bring these recommendations to council in the near future as well. At the last council meeting, a commitment was made to schedule a meeting involving the city, the Port Corporation, and interested stakeholders to discuss the impact of the 24/7 port operations on residents. BPR committee will consider any suggestions, recommendations for possible bylaw changes that come out of this meeting. And a date hasn't been picked for that yet. Yeah, we're working on scheduling that. So finally, the part that we might want to have a little bit of discussion on is the committee recently discussed whether the city should adopt a mandatory vaccination policy. The legal guidance on the need for full vaccinations and disclosure of vaccination status is evolving almost every day. We've seen other employers and jurisdictions experience challenges in administering and enforcing these policies. We have a very high number of staff who are fully vaccinated. We're at 97%. And that could even be more now, right? Because this is a few little week old. And some who have received their one vaccination is up to 99%. So we're quite high. And we believe that a policy is not required at this time. We will continue to monitor this issue closely as we know public health guidance can change. In the meantime, we tend to more formally acknowledge those who have received the vaccine while continuing to work with those staff who are vaccine hesitant. The health and safety of our staff and our residents is our utmost priority. I know that council, we had discussed maybe some draws for local business gift cards for those that, have their vaccination, and just a little thank you for, working with us and, for the residents as well that they come in contact with, and also to sit down with any that might be hesitant about it, and see if, is there anything that as a city or a council or an employer that we can do if they're just nervous, or if there's something else that's holding them back from getting it. So, or just if they need to talk about why they're hesitant about getting it. So anyway, is there any questions from council on it, or did my counterparts want to weigh in on?
I do not see any lights on for questions.
Okay. Perfect.
Councillor McFeely.
Yeah, the question I would have is, so we have 99% compliance to vaccination, the full vaccination. So we don't require any testing or anything for those who are not compliant with?
For that question, we have Mr. Derek Key. I can't see him, but I know he's behind the podium.
So the ones who aren't vaccinated at all, they basically have free roam of the workplace, or sitting at the same desk or same workstation as somebody that, without any requirement for testing or anything like that? And I guess I just raise it as a question more than a...
Yeah, that's a process that we're working through right now, Councillor McFeely. I mean, our preference right now is for those who haven't been vaccinated, whether it's for health-related or other types of reasons. We prefer to work with them on a one-to-one basis to really understand the reasons for why they are not vaccinated. And I'm sure that there are certain supports that we will explore to provide to them, and educate them to try to support them in getting the vaccine. Again, it's like Madam Chair said in her report, it is an evolving issue, and we know that there are other jurisdictions some who have implemented mandatory vaccination policies that are experiencing some challenges with its implementation, precisely around situations such as that you've identified. And it's something that we are looking at right now and working through.
Okay,
Just to
so-
follow up on
sorry.
that, Councillor Adams, 99%, I mean, that sounds just about everybody, but how many would that be? 99% of a number of employees, is it 6 or 10 or?
The number of staff that we have that are not fully vaccinated is 5.
5, okay. And you got those, so just sorry, but you have the reasons, and maybe you mentioned, it didn't come out.
Some are health-related, some are based on religious reasons. Some are citing health reasons, and some are citing religious reasons as well.
So just to sum it up, I guess, what do we do for that?
So
Legally, can we do anything about it, or should we, or how do we handle it?
do we
We're
have,
still working on it, I guess.
do we have a mandatory testing?
I guess that's why we're here tonight, to ask you guys, we don't have a vax or test policy in place. We know that our numbers are high, that we don't feel we have to do a mandatory vaccination, and due to the reasons of the handful of people that aren't vaccinated, would, as a council, you feel it beneficial for our residents and that handful that they do a vax and test with masking included?
For health reasons or religious reasons, that's fine. But if they're working in the public, I believe there should be some kind of a test policy in place for whatever.
Like are in other businesses and in other?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, yep.
That's my own
Yep.
personal opinion. I don't know why we should let somebody else,
And
be subject to
yeah,
something.
we're being mindful of why
Right.
they're not
Right, and
getting
and
them,
I'm
but we're
fully-
also trying to
fully
be
aware of that.
mindful of
Yeah.
residents
Yeah,
So the
not
religious-
contracting something from somebody.
The religious reasons wouldn't have anything to do with just getting tested. I know you're talking testing and vaccination.
Yeah.
But what would be the reasons not to get tested?
right.
Yeah, there'd be no reason not to get tested,
No.
so that's why,
But-
is
but
that
it-
where council, it's a vax or
That-
test?
Personally, I think if there's no vaccination,
We should do testing with mandatory masks.
right.
Masks included, yeah.
And I believe in the bylaw or BPR committee meeting, Chair Carrie, that was discussed by the director of HR,
Yeah.
and that there was going to be that monitoring and talking, with the individuals, and then just to see if that could be tightened up with the comments that were
Because we
just
said, like,
made.
some people might be that they're anxious about it and just maybe want a little more education on it, the pros and cons to it, and like I said, it is evolving every day, so. Justin, did you wanna?
I'll ask another question. I do not see any other lights on. I don't want to jump ahead, but was your light on? I didn't see it, Councillor Doiron. But this has been going, what, a year and a half or close? close to 2 years come spring. And we still have something there in regards to testing, some not tested. So we're gonna put a diary date on this to see if council is gonna ask that they be tested at least, and when, you know. I'm just wondering how long could we or should we let them go without at least being tested, because as Councillor McFeely said, the people working all around them must be concerned, or maybe be concerned, and the public.
Yeah, so, CEO Rob and Derek also, I'm not sure who wants to give their opinion on it, but tonight, as a council, can we move on a vax or test for those that, in addition to educating and helping, however, with the handful that don't have it?
Turn the one beside you on there, might pick it up. If Kristen's like.
You know what?
Oh, they're both on now.
Oh, they're both on? Okay. I mean, based on what we're hearing, you know, there are some very legitimate concerns around the testing piece. So certainly we can take it back and try to put some parameters around for those who aren't fully vaccinated, like what other requirements do we want to put in place, such as mandatory testing and masking. And we'll report back to council on that at our earliest opportunity.
Thank you.
Sound okay? Is everybody good with it? Justin?
Yeah, no, I was just kind of sitting on something. I figured I may as well speak on it. First of all, I guess, what was I going to say? No, just Bruce kind of triggered it in my mind, and just, you know, I think I don't think we have a right to choose and pick who should be tested or not, but you know, personally, if there's somebody that is dealing with the public, say, just as an example, maybe, you know, as a receptionist or something like that, versus somebody who might be, you know, spending their day in a snowplow or something. I mean, like, there's a higher risk to our residents in one of those positions as there would be in another. But I don't think we really have the right to say, you know, one position should be tested and one maybe not necessarily should be, but that's just where I kind of, my mind goes when I think of who might be interacting with the public and who might not be.
Okay, well, why don't we'll maybe have a meeting sooner rather than later on BPR just on this topic and try and move that along so it doesn't drag. Yes, Councillor Snow?
I was just sort of listening, and Sierra Rob just mentioned something about having some issues around testing. Did I hear that right, Rob? And if so, can you just sort of flush out what you just said? I just trying to understand what you were just saying there.
No, it wasn't issues around testing, Councillor Snow. In our initial research, when BPR committee was first tasked with the responsibility to look at the possibility of a mandatory vaccination policy, we did a research of other jurisdictions, and this is out in the public, so it's not like I'm saying anything that's surprising, but we know that certain jurisdictions, provincial and otherwise, local government levels, have rolled out these policies and have, after the fact, run into some issues with and challenges with implementation, just in very general terms. So I guess that's why we're taking a little bit more of a measured approach here, I guess, as opposed to just putting a policy out before and then.
If our numbers weren't so high, then
Yeah,
we
right.
might have to take the chance of doing it for our residents, but since
Yeah.
we only have literally a handful of people that.
Thank you. I just
Yeah.
want clarity.
And
on that.
I think just to go to Councillor Adams' point as well, that is definitely right, that if the numbers for the high vaccinations, if it wasn't such a high number, like say if it was at 50 or 60%, then yeah, this I think would be respectfully a different conversation with council.
Okay, thank you.
Could I just ask that we try to set a date when they come back with something for council to make a final decision, say when the next committee meeting is,
Well, we'll have
or something.
one in meetings in December, yeah.
Okay.
We'll try for that one. Okay. The committee. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
A couple of weeks' time or so, yeah.
Is that okay?
Thank you.
Did you want me to keep going with the rest of my
You may as well do your report.
stuff since I'm
I guess.
at it? Okay. So I'll go backwards here and just the human resource portion. Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, as well as department subcommittees, continue to meet on a regular basis. Department continues to provide support at various meetings this month. First aid CPR training for staff was held this month. Jonathan Arsenault and Mallory Metallic were promoted to full-time constables with our police service, so welcome to both of them. They've been here, but glad you're here to stay. A competition is underway for part-time constables and for a municipal services clerk. This is a replacement position. Is that a retirement, I believe? Yeah, that's a retirement position. So any questions on the human resource portion? If not, I'll just update quickly on Culture Summerside. Despite the ongoing challenges connected to COVID-19, the Ghost Walk was held on the 21st, and it was an on-stage event, and there was over 250 people attended. Lighting the Way, the story of Summerside Electric, 1920 to 2020, the City of Summerside's history book, which was researched and written by Culture Summerside, detailing more than 100-year history of the Summerside-owned electric utility, was launched on November 5th at the CUP. The event was well attended and the feedback was positive. Participants passed along positive remarks on the song written and performed by Councillor Bruce McDougall.
Here, here.
And the vignette performed by actor Mark Haynes. Books can be purchased at the Lafergie Cultural Centre and the McNaught History Centre and Archives. And that's a great Christmas present for the person who has everything.
What's that, Councillor McDougall's song, you mean?
Oh, that too. And I'm sure, yeah, we can get through iTunes or something. Yeah, we'll work on that. Museum collections. Culture Summerside continues to focus on museum collection projects and has recently applied for further project funding for the Community Museum Association. These collections support the ongoing work of cataloging museum artifacts. The Christmas program Culture Summerside is currently developing for 2021 is an exhibition, Christmas Trees Through the Ages, and it will feature over 20 decorated Christmas trees. I believe this was the one that was done last year as well, and it was very popular. The exhibition located at Lafergie Cultural Centre will be available to the general public and have extended hours to allow for increased access. And last but not least, the finishing touches are being done to the exterior of the Summerside Armory. This includes walkways and steps. Work is progressing well on the interior as well, and exhibition content is being written and formatted. Exhibition cases are being prepared and the interior finishes are also being completed. An opening date will be circulated in the near future. And that's it, Your Worship.
Okay, anything further? The Councillor or Deputy Mayor McColeman, you had a question?
Not a question, Your Worship. I just wanted to comment on the history book, Lighting the Way. No, yeah, Lighting the Way, the story of Summerside Electric. It was excellent. It was so well done. I mean, it just made you proud to be from Summerside, and the fact of Mark Haynes when he performed as Mr. Skierman back 100 years ago, it was amazing. He just did it so well, and it was almost like we could even see ourselves in this present day, how we sometimes struggle with making decisions. They found that 100 years ago when they were trying to decide on the utility, and I think it was so well received to the community. Former Premier and retired Senator Catherine Callbeck was there. Former Premier Alex Campbell, MLAs were there from the provincial government. So people really received it, and it's something that people are so proud of the utility. And Director Greg, great job.
Is that all you have? Okay, was there another one going to be moved ahead? Electric. Councillor Campbell, or you've...
100 years, Summerside Electric History Book has been launched. And if anyone wants one, Lori Ellis is looking after it. Her phone number is 902-786-7432. And the book can be purchased for $26.25, taxes included. And it was a fun afternoon, really. And the Sunbank project is starting this November. If any residents have concern with construction, please call the Director of Municipal Services at 902-439-5776. And the general operational statistics for the electric utility is, this isn't great news, 32.2% of our electricity came from wind in October. That's down 320 points. Generator run hours were 15.1 hours, 17 new electric customers energized this month. That's high for new customers. 4 electrical service upgrades, 10 new poles were installed and 20 removed. 1 transformer was installed and 1 removed. 1,920 meters of primary wiring installed. 100 meters of secondary wiring installed. 22 service calls were responded to. 7 street lights installed this month. 3 room heaters were sold for the Heat for Less program. Total now is 464 units. And here you go, get ready. By November 26th, our Christmas trees will all be up.
Good. Thank you.
So the season is coming. That's my report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Any questions for the Chair of Electrical?
Councillor Campbell?
I have a resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you just see to it that maybe through the electric department, and I guess it would be municipal services too, that some of the residents are asking for the tree on the electric stack, like a lot of the residents really like that, so
Yep.
just, I mean, that's part of electric too.
There's the engineer right beside us there.
He's listening. And a
Councillor Campbell, you have a resolution.
If I could just comment on the tree there too, and I'll be sending an email to Rob on it. I did have a call, and I know residents, me included, really like that tree up there, but I did have a call from a neighbor of the facility there over the weekend, concerned that the brightness of the light from that tree impacts the immediate neighbors and her ability to sleep, and so my commitment to her was that I would raise the issue, and I will send an email to CAO Rob about that. But anyways, I just, because it's being raised here, just kind of throw that out there, that there are neighbors that are concerned about the amount of light from that, and it bothers them for them over the night hours. So my commitment to her was that I would send her concern on to the appropriate folks. So I guess I can consider my commitment fulfilled to her. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McFeely. So the lights are, how high is that stack, Greg? How many hundred feet?
That stack's probably 100 feet above sea level, at the very top or so, about 100 feet. And to Councillor McFeely's concerns, we'll investigate possible timer function, turned off at a certain time. And secondly, maybe dimple. I'm not sure if dimple is an option with the type of lights we have, but a timer definitely is. Turn off at a certain time if council wishes.
I certainly think that'd be a great solution if it's possible, and I certainly recognize that for the vast majority of us, it's a great thing. You can see it all over the city and that type of thing, but there may be others in the immediate area there too. So a timer might be the appropriate solution to it. So it's great.
Points well taken.
Go ahead, sir.
Resolution, Your Worship, COS 21-192, moved by myself, Councillor Campbell, second by Councillor Snow. Whereas requests for proposals were called for in Summerside Sunbank Owners Engineer Services. And whereas the City of Summerside received 4 proposals in good order, and they are as follows. A firm WSP Canada, $178,000. This tax is not included in these, Your Worship. Foventus, $184,630. CIMA Plus, 198,500. CBCL, 224,425. Whereas requests for proposals were scored on ability, management, presentations, and costs, with WSP Canada scoring the highest ranked proposal to meet the needs of the request. Be it resolved that the City of Summerside awards the Summerside Sunbank Owners Engineer Services to WSP Canada for a total of $178,000 plus plus taxes. This bears the recommendation of the Committee of Services, Electric Services.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Campbell and seconded by Councillor Snow. And you've all heard the resolution, and it's great to see the lowest tender accepted. Meets the,
That's my
what's
report,
required.
that's my,
okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Contrary, nay. Carried. Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Okay, we're back up on the agenda here. We'll go to the Finance Services. The Chair, Deputy Mayor McColeman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to point out that my report tonight has been prepared by Director Kristen Dunsford. I'd like to say good evening to all of my colleagues and residents and the business community of the City of Summerside. Preparations are starting for our 2022-23 capital and operating budgets. We expect to present this budget to our residents in early March 2022. This date will be confirmed in the next few weeks. Our Community Support Program grant application is available on our website, and the due date is Friday, December 31st, 2021 at 12 noon. To be eligible to submit an application for consideration, the group or organization or event must meet the following criteria. Registered as nonprofit organization and located in the City of Summerside. Must have a broad mandate servicing a wide cross-section of citizens within the City of Summerside. Must provide a service not currently provided by another body. And the purpose is to enhance social, cultural, environmental, recreational, or heritage initiatives. For those organizations who receive funding in 2021-22, a reminder of the requirement to submit a final report by December 31st, 2021. Your final report should outline how the funds were spent and what outcomes were achieved for the community. My report tonight continues with our preliminary financial results as of September 30th, 2021. There have not been any significant changes since our previous report, and our preliminary results show a consolidated surplus in the general fund plus utilities of $122,100 compared to our budgeted surplus of $14,243. And just a note to members of council, this breakdown is reflected in your financial information package. Now for an update on the status of our utility accounts receivable. As of November 10th, 2021, the following is being reported. Total overdue balance is $124,400 compared to $160,100 at October 13th, 2021. Approximately 2.7% or $3,400 of the overdue balance is greater than 60 days past due. This compares to 14.1% or $23,500 on October 13th, 2021. We are continuing to take applications from Maritime Electric customers, both residential and businesses, who are within our municipal boundary to rebate for the additional cost of your January, February, and March 2021 utility bills. This rebate is being offered as Maritime Electric applied the rate increase effective January 1st, 2021, and Summerside Electric made the rate increase effective on April 1st, 2021. The rebate application form is available on our website. The link can be found in the upper right-hand corner of the website, and a copy of your utility bill must be submitted. The approved credit will be processed on your next water and sewer utility, and if you do not have a water and sewer bill with the City of Summerside, a check will be issued. If you receive an electricity bill from the Summerside Electric, you are not eligible for this rebate, as the electric rate adjustment was not effective until April 1st, 2021. Also, just to remind our residents, we would like to remind customers, residential customers, that we do offer a budget billing program which will calculate a fixed monthly installment that is based on your prior 12-month billing. The application form is available on our website, and if you have any questions regarding our budget billing program or the utility rebate, as discussed, please contact us at 902-432-1230. If you have any questions, you can email customer service, all lowercase, at summerside.ca. I'd like to just thank you for the opportunity to present this report, and I'd like to mention that if there's any questions, either myself or Chief Financial Officer, Director Kristen, would be pleased to take your questions. And for all council members, in your financial package, your report, you will find the attached breakdown as of September 30th, along with any capital projections. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor McColeman, for your financial report. Any questions for the Chair of Finance? I do not see at this point any question lights on, so thank you very much for that. And we will continue on then with the agenda. And Councillor Doiron, sorry, Councillor McFeely had a question. Oh, okay, sir. Oh,
I do have one question
okay.
for Deputy Mayor. You had mentioned there about the residents that are in Summerside but are on Maritime Electric. Do you know, or Kristen probably, do you know how many people have taken part in that?
No, we have not had very many applications.
Okay,
We do receive a couple usually after the monthly meeting.
okay. Just a little
I would say
reminder.
maybe 20.
Okay,
20 out of what, how many hundred?
so maybe we should do a little social media blast and just sort of remind people. I would think there would be more, but you guys have the majority, so I'm not sure.
Thank you.
That might be something, just to, sorry to interrupt, maybe you were answering. We might be able to ask our executive assistant if something could be prepared for Facebook. Put on. Okay.
Just to that point, I guess how long of a window are we gonna allow for this to, do you know what I mean? Are we gonna have a shut-off date so our staff can?
I was going to say the fiscal year as well.
Okay, yeah.
And I think one of the reasons too, Councillor Corey, why we try to put this in our monthly report package is, you know, sometimes people think that we're not being transparent, and I think we're being very transparent. We put it on as many platforms as we can, but this is just to make sure that people know that we're trying to meet halfway, but also we have to hear from them. So there are mechanisms in place, and if they can, that's great.
Okay, I do not see any further lights on. We'll continue on, I believe. We're here. We moved around a couple of times, I believe, for tech services. Councillor Doiron, you have a report.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you very much.
I'll dive right into it, I guess. The 2021 construction season is beginning to wind down, and it was a big one. A lot of the times, at least myself, when I hear from residents, it's due to something that we've done infrastructure related that they can see. I don't get a lot of calls that say, you know, thank you for the new underground pipes, things like that. So we had a couple of major projects this year, and that was of course the Pope and Central Roundabout and the intersection at Granville and Walker. That was another one that a lot of people have you know, kind of chimed in on and commended us for doing. I was getting coffee this morning at McDonald's. I spread it around. Today happened to be McDonald's. And there was a vehicle behind me, and when I pulled out to continue on, I stopped at that intersection, and I just kind of noticed in my peripheral vision there was a guy in a truck, and I could see him kind of motion to me, and I won't name names, or I don't like naming names, but in the interest of transparency, it was Dave Campbell, and no, nobody knows Dave. Anyway, I saw him, and he motioned for me to put the window down, and I said, "Oh." I put the window down. He said, "You must be some proud of this intersection." I said, "Yeah, we are." And I was headed to Pope and Central, and I said, I'm even more happier with the next one. But it's just, I've never been flagged down before, and that was, it was nice to hear in the middle of an intersection that we're doing a good job.
Yeah, a lot of positive comments.
A lot of positive comments on some of the things that the department's doing. So yeah, that roundabout is complete. Duke Street Storm is well underway. The water main replacements on Central Street and Summer Street are nearing completion. Workers are just repairing some of the asphalt down there. The 1 kilometer boardwalk replacement project is almost complete for this year, with the main item left being the installation of the lighting. There was a very long delivery time for those, and they just arrived. We continue to update our website on the progress and various locations where our city projects are happening. Staff continues to review and assist the public with pending developments and building permits to be issued for this year. Staff had another busy month and have a couple of planning-related activities currently going through the process this month as well. 16 building permits with a value of $2.4 million were issued for the month of October, with a total year-to-date value of $49.5 million. So we might hit the 50 million mark before the year is up.
Are we talking the calendar year or our March year?
Total year-to-date, I'm assuming that's probably fiscal year, so, I mean, I can double check on that,
Yeah.
but usually the reports come in based on our fiscal year. We issued permits for 3 commercial renovations, changes of uses, and 1 industrial. We also had 2 permits for decks, 1 mini home placement, and 3 single-family homes, and another 3 for residential additions or alterations. This month we also issued permits for 1 4-unit row house as well as 1 8-unit row house. And developers are still stopping in and speaking to staff for assistance with their proposed projects for the fall of 2021, as well as a lot of them are starting to plan for next year. Residents are also still encouraged to ask for assistance with their projects that they may have planned for the remainder of 2021. And thank you to Director of Tech Services Aaron McDonald for preparing that report this month.
Thank you, Councillor Justin. That $50 million in permits this year is amazing. And last year, I think it was over 40. You know, we're looking at, and we still got a few months to go yet. Like I said, whatever year it is, the calendar year or the fiscal year, but $100 million just about in development in the last year and a half. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the construction jobs that created and the shot in the arm for the economy? So
Yeah.
it's great to have so much of that taking place. And,
Yeah.
and like you just said, they're planning again for next year.
Yeah, and it was almost $2.5 million worth of permits for October, so we're only $500,000 away from that 50 million mark. So I'm sure we'll be able to hit that before the end of our year.
So thank you and your committee and your tech services staff. A lot of businesses processed to get the 50 million.
Absolutely.
Any, Councillor Snow, you had a question?
Yeah, I just personally want to thank the residents of Ward 4 who've been putting up with a lot of construction over the summer. We had the Central Street, we had Cedar, and now we have the bottom of Duke. So a lot of the area that I represent has been torn up over the summer, and lots of much needed work has been done in regards to underground requirements, and it definitely is probably a nuisance to some of the residents in the area. But that said, I have not had many complaints at all regarding it. I think people realize that work needs to be done, and it's important for our city as we grow. So I just want to personally thank them, because there's been a lot of work being done in that area as of late. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, certainly, like I said, a lot of the things that people see are the things that people comment on. but when there's things going on under the street that not all residents of the city realize, those are some of the more important things that need to be done. Like, I know when we first came into our term here, and then we were presented with the fact that there's still 100-plus-year-old pipes in the ground. Some of them are made out of wood, so there's still lots to go, but a lot of these things that people don't see need to be improved, and we're continuing to do those, as well as the things above the ground.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Just to echo to Councillor Justin, a lot of times when we're going through the budget for capital projects too, we'll hear the staff from the various departments say how important it is for that infrastructure, because you can't build a good foundation unless you have that beneath the ground worked on. So they do a great job.
And in some of those instances where it's such old infrastructure, it's almost, the price of not doing it is much higher than the price of doing it, or could be potentially.
Thank you very much. Any further questions for the chair? Do you have anything further to add?
No, Your Worship, that's all for me this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll continue on. Councillor McFeely, you have the planning board. Floor is yours, sir.
We have a couple of resolutions from Planning Board. Resolution COS 21-190, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Carrie Adams. Whereas an application for a major subdivision was received from Robbins Equity Group Limited to subdivide PID number 1005123 into 11 lots intended for single-family residential R1, as shown on plan of survey prepared by Island Survey and Engineering titled Plan of Survey showing lots 21-1 to 21-11 and parcel R-1. Drawing number 2035 dated October 6, 2021. And whereas in accordance with section 316 of the Subdivision and Site Development Bylaw, Council shall consider the following general criteria as applicable: conformity with all requirements of this bylaw, conformity with the official plan, conformity with the zoning bylaw, the orderly and following nature of the development, physical suitability of the site for the proposed development, including avoidance of natural hazards, undue water runoff, or environmental damage, compatibility of the proposed development with the present and future surrounding patterns of streets, lots, and services, including conformity with any city concept plans, adequacy of the applicant's proposal for traffic circulation, parking, pedestrian access, water supply, sewage disposal, and storm drainage, including the adequacy of the city streets and services to handle increased loads. Suitability of the parkland provision, impact on city finances and budgets, proof of conformity of any applicable provincial legislation and regulations, and other matters as considered relevant. Be it resolved that Council grant preliminary subdivision approval in accordance with section 8.5 of the Subdivision and Site Development Bylaw to Robbins Equity Group Limited to subdivide PID number 1005123 into 11 lots intended for single-family residential R1 as shown on plan of the survey prepared by Island Survey and Engineering titled Plan of Survey showing lots 21-1 to 21-11 and parcel R-1 drawing number 20353 dated October 6, 2021, subject to the following conditions. The developer satisfy all municipal servicing requirements, city to cost share a portion of the servicing. The developer enters into a subdivision construction agreement with the city. And this bears the recommendation of the Planning Board meeting held November 2nd, 2021, Your Worship, and the preliminary plan is attached for Council's consideration as well, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor McFeely and seconded by Councillor Adams. Everybody heard the resolution. Any questions? Councillor Campbell.
Just a question or comment. I'd like to congratulate or thank council for voting to remain in R1 in that subdivision. It's certainly gone over with recognition by the members that live up there, that they're quite satisfied with how things was handled by the councillors and how respectful they were and how glad that we're having an R1 development, not an R2.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. Just a question there, Councillor McFeely. City to cost share the portion of the servicing. What portion is that? Is that,
If I recall from the planning board meeting, the explanation there's a portion that attaches, I can't remember the name of the street, there's Mountain? Yeah, Mountain, with the subdivision that in order to get it looped around, the city has some responsibility in that area, if I recall correctly.
Usually, the previous developer would have provided that servicing. It wasn't not done in this case, and I think from all the explanations we received in the past is developing that area, it's cost prohibitive to not have that area
Looped in.
Yeah. So it's to complete the servicing to reach the new area.
all in favor, ready for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary nay. Carried.
And the second resolution, Your Worship, Resolution COS 21-191, moved by myself, Councillor McFeely, seconded by Councillor Carrie Adams. Whereas an application was received from Karen's Motel, Inc. for restricted use to allow a heavy machinery repair shop at 715 Water Street East, PID number 863662 and PID number 836288 in the single-family residential R1 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas the restricted use to allow a heavy machinery repair shop at 715 Water Street East, PID number 863662 and PID number 836288 in the single-family residential R1 zone is subject to conditions as set out by council. Be it resolved that council approve the restricted use for a heavy machinery repair shop at 715 Water Street East, PID number 863662 and PID number 836288 in the single-family residential R1 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw, subject to the following conditions. 1, the property owner will install a separator sand oil grit in Building A, and the attached plan shows Building A on it, Your Worship. 2, the property owner shall enter a development agreement addressing the installation of water and sewer services to Building A. 3, the property owner will consolidate PID number 863662 and PID number 836288. 4, the property owner shall satisfy paving/hard surface parking area and site drainage within 24 months of an occupancy permit being issued for the restricted use. 5, the proposed restricted use area is defined as shown, and that's on the attached plan as well, Your Worship, and map. This bears the recommendation of Planning Board meeting of November 2nd, and attached are the plan showing Building A as well as the restricted use land area, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor McFeely. Any questions for the chair? Councillor Snow?
Just wondering have we had any communication with the applicant on the conditions, and are they receptive to those conditions? Not that it changes anything, but I'm just sort of curious if we've had those communications.
I haven't. I don't know if Councillor Adams has, or
I meant staff more than council directly. But.
Yeah.
They were here.
We have had discussions with the applicant around the conditions that council wants to consider, and they've accepted those.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, you ready for the vote? All in favor say aye. Contrary nay. Carried. That's all you have in the planning board at this time? And we did the electrical. So you're back on again right now. You got a couple of seconds in between there to get rested up. Economic development. Sorry, did I miss one?
Municipal
Okay, sorry.
Services was first.
Councillor McDougall, how's, you get yours?
Got the plows all ready.
Yeah, we got the street sweeper fixed?
Yes, we'll be talking about that in a minute. I have a report here that was prepared by Director Greg Goody for the Municipal Services. The Major maintenance at the sewage treatment plant is performed this month. Replaced the pump at the Northumberland lift station. QOL equipment cleaned at the plant, and a centrifuge unit replacement project continues for execution in January of 2022. Public Works completed the new traffic signage for the Central Street roundabout and the new Starlight subdivision. They've cleared back some brush on West Drive for sight lines, and the boardwalk entrance area by the super mailboxes on Mackenzie Drive was repaired this month. And as of today, November 15th, marks the start of the winter season for Public Works. All equipment has been reviewed for operations and is ready for snow removal or salting. And Public Works has received its new salt truck body and is getting the salt box put on this month. So, and all the fire hydrant repairs and maintenance has been ongoing this month, and staff received training in refresher first aid and traffic controls for this month. And the street sweeper has been sold. The end of the story.
Somebody gonna move snow with it? Wouldn't be
Well,
dusty.
no, it's been sold back, and we're in the process of reviewing some new tenders for a newer model. So, and just the water samples, chlorination samples are all taken. They're clear of bacteria and all within parameters. So, that's basically all I have, Your Worship.
Any questions for the Chair of Municipal Services? I do not see any lights on. Do you have anything further to add?
I just want to say I missed the ceremony this afternoon for the CC-115 Buffalo aircraft. I had planned to go in, but I had to take in an FCM meeting. And so I want to congratulate the Air Force Heritage Committee on the arrival of the Buffalo. And also big thanks to the Credit Union Place and Duke Foods for hosting the FPIM semi-annual meeting last week. It was great to all be in the same room, and we had a great turnout and a lot of good compliments. Nice to get in the same room instead of on Zoom, so it was good. And just want to say what a great job they did with the boardwalk. It's great. The only concern I have is the loose gravel. I don't know how that's going to stay in there, but that's the only issue that's been brought up to me is the gravel in the middle. I hope it stays there. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, take care. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and you're right. The PEI Municipalities meeting was very successful, and thank you to the PEI FM for the plaque presented to the city for hosting the event, and a lot of compliments on the Credit Union Place by all councillors from across the province, and it was very successful. So, Councillor McFeely, you're back on the floor with the Economic Development Report.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, once again, it's been a busy time in the Economic Development Department, and I want to thank Mike Tuska for providing the report for this evening. Again, as was the case last month, the dominant themes continue to be labor and space. Labor, the office is working with Blue Wave AI and partners to further their Center of Excellence in Summerside. You may recall that Blue Wave came to Summerside as part of the Living Lab project, and you know, have been quite successful and beginning to expand their operation in Summerside, and the office is presently working with them to find 5 high-profile positions to further advance their information technology platform and based on artificial intelligence. They are working hard with their domestic and international partners to identify talent to satisfy this amazing opportunity. Blue Wave is just one of many IT firms looking to expand 2 are within Summerside. We kind of show that as an example of the types of things that the department is doing and working with companies in town to try to deal with some of their labor issues. Space constrictions continue to perplex many of our investment clients looking for space in Summerside. It is certainly acute in the industrial and commercial sector, but the office is working hard to address the space challenges being experienced in Summerside. Today, we've been able to facilitate the absorption of over 70,000 square feet of space, and the demand continues to drive the efforts of the office. Immigration investors. Our current count of operating immigrant investor businesses is approaching 90 in Summerside, which accounts for about 10% of all Summerside businesses. There are a number of intricate and sophisticated businesses that we wouldn't have here otherwise, and we intend to take advantage of their skill sets every way we can, including labor and other investments. Building permits. I know Councillor Doiron talked about building permits in his report. 2021 has been a very strong year for building permit values, even surpassing the impressive totals of 19 and 20. Looking further, a noticeable difference is that 2021 is significantly higher than 2019 and 2020 in terms of industrial, commercial, and institutional permit values. 2019, those added up to about 13 million. In 2020, it was 14.7 million. So far this year, it's $23 million in industrial, commercial, and institutional permit values. So that's a significant portion of the 49.5 million that Councillor Doiron spoke about. So very pleased with that and seeing the growth of commercial space in Summerside. I believe we turned that corner, and certainly want to thank the business community and partners. We are seeing Summerside as an investment in ripe community, and as always in this kind of portfolio, there's lots of real positive things happening behind the scenes that haven't come to fruition yet, and we really need to respect the privacy of our partners and as we move forward, but I'm very confident that we're going to have some pretty exciting announcements coming here very shortly. So we look forward to those, and that concludes my report this night.
Thank you, Councillor McFeely, for that report, and yes, it's going to be exciting times ahead fairly soon. Any questions for the Chair of Economic Development? I do not see any question lights, so we'll continue on. And we bounced around the agenda a bit here, but I would say that the Police Services Fire Emergency Planning is going to be presented by Deputy Mayor McColeman.
Thank you, Your Worship.
For Councillor Ramsey.
As a committee member for the city's emergency preparedness group, I was asked by Councillor Ramsey to bring her monthly report as she is out of the province. So I'll begin with the Fire Services report prepared by Ken Culleton, and thank him for that. In October, there were 32 fire calls during October, 7 structure fires, 10 alarm panels, 2 medical first responder calls, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 3 false alarms, but they also have to be answered, 2 miscellaneous calls, as well as 5 canceled calls. The firefighters trained for a total of 445 hours in the following activities during the month: Fire School Level 2 instructor, Fire School Level 2 field work, breathing apparatus practice, equipment inventory to make sure that everything is in shape and ready in case of emergency, fire scenario, clean graffiti from tennis courts, pre-planned fire drill and presentation, again all around fire safety. Fire School Level 2 field work, Fire School Level 2 instructor, standard aero tour with a pre-plan, and standard aero, they did a tour just checking number of things at in that company. Holland College field work and CPR and first aid were some of the other areas. Other notes of interest for firefighters. Firefighters paid their final respects to retired firefighter Tony Perry, who was a 31-year veteran of the department, and certainly we extend deepest condolences to the Perry family. Firefighters hosted a very successful Lunch and Learn program the week of October 3rd to 9th. Each day, 12 elementary students from all of our Summerside schools got to share a barbecue and some lunchtime fire prevention tips and education with our fire department members. Preparations are well underway for this year's Santa Claus Parade, which will be taking place on November 26th. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, this year's version will also be a reverse parade. So I will just continue on into the Summerside Police Services report, Your Worship. This was prepared by Acting Police Chief Sinclair Walker. For committee and volunteer work, members continue to attend meetings for the Bridge Program, Criminal Intelligence, PEI, and other provincial organizations. In the area of training and service enhancements, during the month of October, a number of members completed their annual firearms qualifications as per the Police Act. Training has started for e-ticketing, which will greatly decrease the amount of time it takes to issue a ticket on the road. The system uploads the information to pros from the vehicle, which saves time for our support staff as well. Eventually, the information will be sent directly to Highway Safety and the courthouse once their infrastructure is in place. A number of members were trained in CPR and first aid. One of our dispatchers completed suicide intervention training, and this course given to all dispatchers. 2 members completed the high-risk vehicle stop course at Atlantic Police Academy, and a supervisor attended the modern day leadership course at Atlantic Police Academy. For community policing activities during the month of October, Summerside Police Services members volunteered with the following organizations: Summerside Minor Hockey, First Shift, which is a program to get kids started in hockey, Swim Meet at Credit Union Place, Clubhouse at Notre Dame Place, Take Back the Night, Women's Victims Association of PEI, College of Piping, and the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. Constable Metallic used her computer skills to redesign our police crest for the Halloween season, which received a lot of positive comments. And just in some statistical occurrences, calls for service were 673 into police services, traffic accidents 31, reported crimes of assault and threats 34, theft reports 26, impaired driving offenses 8, Highway Traffic Acts charges 183, break and enter reports in the business and residential area 4, drug enforcement charges 1, and this does not include the joint force operations charges. Any questions can be directed to Acting Chief Walker. And I just have a very short brief as well on the emergency preparedness. The efforts are ongoing. The city and all municipalities are required to submit an approved emergency response plan to the province by December 31st of this year. And this plan was developed many years ago, but has been refined over time to reflect changes in our response practice, reception centers, and partnerships that we have developed and or strengthened, especially over the last couple of years. This plan has been also reviewed by the Provincial Emergency Measures Office for their advice and endorsement. Like any plan, we will continue to refine it as new information or best practices come available. And that concludes the report for police, fire, and emergency.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any questions for the chair for the report? Councillor McGowan.
I just have maybe a comment or a question, but as we all know, there's been, we had a terrible weekend with deaths, and I noticed Highway Traffic Act charges 183. So I looked at that today, and I went back to last month, and I think it was like in the 130s or something like that. So it's up substantially, and you know, speeding seems to be an issue all across the province, but it's really, I think probably half of those, if they're speeding, are from West Drive. I see the police officer out there quite often, and they don't be there very long before they stop somebody. And so it continues to be a problem right across the city. I was wondering if, I see the way the stats are, if we could have a 3-month report, like when we're doing the monthly report, if it could be bumped, like, yeah, so that we could see what, just a rolling 3-month, so that we can see what it was last month or the previous month.
Okay.
Just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
Anyway.
I'll pass that
thank
on
you.
to Councillor Ramsey.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry,
I have a
go ahead,
comment or
CEO.
question.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Just one point I wanted to raise, just to follow up on the Deputy Mayor's report for EMO. Even though our emergency response plan has been endorsed, or we've received some advice from the province on it, it hasn't been officially approved by council yet, so that will be on the agenda for the December committee meetings, where we'll formally submit it to you for approval, and we'll go through in a little bit more detail. I know we've briefed you on it in the past, but it was just that, a brief, right? So we'll give you a little bit more of an update at the December committee meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have just a
Do
question.
you have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead before you say.
More of a comment, I guess, and it sort of goes along with what Councillor McDougall was just saying. I noticed, it might have been today or yesterday, there was a message that came out from our police department saying that they had conducted a traffic blitz, I think they called it, which is it's something new I noticed, it being called, and how successful, or if you want to call it that, it was that they had been able to catch the speeders and those that were drinking and driving and other traffic offenses. So I just want to thank the Summerside Police, because it's something that as a council we've been trying to address, is speeding and other traffic issues. So it's something I just noticed, and with your report, you're right, that number seems to be really high. So it might be just that we're getting out there a little bit more and doing some more enforcement as of late, and it's great to see that if we have that many issues going on, that they're being caught, I guess. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Snow, and I think as well, right across the province, I think the RCMP are enforcing it more as well. The problem is all across the province.
Yeah, and I think in that, they had mentioned that they had partnered up with RCMP to do some traffic blitz, it was called, so it was sort of interesting.
Thank you. So you have a community services report.
I do, Your Worship.
You're a busy department.
It is a busy department right now. I'd like to start by thanking Director J.P. DeRoger, who compiled the report. October marked the return of the Summerside Western Capitals with their home opener on a year where the city of Summerside is set to host the Fred Page Cup National or Eastern Canadian Junior A Hockey Championships. The Caps are off to a real strong start. They're currently ranked second in the country, which is no small feat. I think we're trailing maybe the Brooks Bandits, who are known nationally as a really top-notch junior A hockey program, just like we are. So hopefully we can catch them. It's going to be a great year. The fit stop at Credit Union Place saw an extensive upgrade in relation to cardio equipment. 20 new cardio machines were in place by early October that range from treadmills, ellipticals, steppers, spin bikes, and recumbent bikes. Each feature entertainment touchscreens and plenty of options to keep one preoccupied while they're running or jogging or biking, if you need to be preoccupied while doing that. The welcome building at the city's new multi-purpose dome is certainly taking shape, along with the foundation for the indoor turf field. Construction continues to progress, and interest from user groups continues to grow as staff are currently working on scheduling events for 2022. Construction on the new microtel by Wyndham continues to progress well. On the grounds of Credit Union Place, staff continue to keep an open line of communication with the developers to help assist in any way that is needed. The Community Service Department, in partnership with Compton's Vegetable Stand, put a bit of a twist on Halloween this year with 2 days of family wagon rides and haunted wagon rides at Heather Moyse Park. The family wagon rides were sold out well in advance and also featured a petting zoo with a variety of animals. The haunted wagon rides were a walk-up only event which had extensive lineups both evenings. Between both events, more than 1,000 participants took part in the Halloween festivities. Credit Union Place also featured their always popular 10 for 10 access facility passes for Halloween, of which many residents take advantage of for trick-or-treating. The fall edition of swimming lessons continued for October, along with several other swimming instructor courses. Between these two offerings, combined with Dolphin Swim Club and Master Swim Club, the Aquatic Center continues to see plenty of traffic and users. The bowling lanes and the Aquatic Center saw 16 total themed birthday parties for the month of September, while the Veterans Convention Center saw a total of 47 bookings. So that's more than one a day, so that our convention center is very busy for sure. That's the report, but just before any questions or comments from council, I want to acknowledge the Summerside Spartans football program. They just completed their season. The entire program is a great program. Actually had Councillor Corey Frizzle reach out to me from Cornwall, sort of commending us on the facilities we have here. He had his Adam team up. They played in the championship Sunday here. They came up on Saturday, had a bunch of rooms at one of the local hotels here. Said he went out and spent lots of money on supper and other things, which I encouraged him to come back and do again. But he just wanted to commend us on everything we have going on here in our sports community, particularly because that's what he was up here for. But he said our facility is second to none around the Maritimes for football. And he also pointed out, which I would echo, that we're very lucky to have John Turner at the helm here. He was instrumental in getting football going here in Summerside, and he's a great leader for our youth in our football community. But especially the Summerside Spartan varsity and the Summerside Bantam football Clippers, they both won their provincial championships, which is no easy feat. So congratulations to them. And I think the varsity team, it's the 7th year in a row they were our provincial championships. So.
And I had two grandsons on the provincial championship team there.
The Bantam one.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Pretty
So-
happy young fellows.
Yes, for sure. It's anytime you can win any championships, it's a great day.
Never
That's
easy.
my report. Thank you.
Any questions for the Chair of Community Services? Councillor
I
or
just
Deputy
have
Mayor?
a comment, Your Worship. I just wanted to pass on positive comments that people are making about the Lights for Life downtown all along the boardwalk, where they're getting them prepped to have for the Christmas parade and during the season, and it just makes such a difference.
Yeah,
Really just gives it a nice atmosphere.
It really does. It's along the boardwalk there. It's beautiful. Angie Arsenault with downtown Summerside and the Lights for Life, they're the ones really spearheading that idea. I know last year, just before it happened, I was speaking with Angie and she had mentioned the idea of bringing it to the waterfront, and I thought it was a great idea, and it proved to be very successful last year, and from everything I'm hearing, it's growing this year, and I think it'll continue to grow. It sort of adds a new element to our waterfront during the winter months.
Yeah, people seem excited. And I think the thing is too, it is, as you say, downtown Summerside, but there's a real partnership with community services, so people, municipals, like
Yeah,
helping.
exactly,
to make
making
it
sure it
happen, and I
happens.
think people really pick up on that.
No, for sure.
Thank you. I believe Councillor Adams had a comment or a question.
I just wanted to, I don't know, it's not really community services, but I just wanted to mention before we end the meeting, that PI Ground Search and Rescue is going to be doing an exercise on the Hall property. So we had some Water Street East and down through like the Rotary Park sort of
yeah.
area on Saturday evening. So I guess we just sort of have to make sure that they've advised our police and whoever else needs to know, and just any residents that might be watching, you know,
Yeah.
if they see
Maybe-
flashlights and people
Right.
out in the fields when it's dark, that they're just, Greg, don't call. So, other than that.
So it's like a training for.
Yeah, they use the, Mike Martin is part of Ground Search and Rescue, and so he allows them to use the property for their exercises. So this one's going to be in the evening when it's darker and so on, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be important that we get whatever information and get it out to the public, just so people, when they see flashlights or whatever going on, they're not concerned.
Yeah, I'll just get him to send me a little blurb about it, and then we'll get it out, but just in case anybody's watching, that's what it's gonna be.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? I believe we've gotten to the end of, do you have anything further, Councillor Snow?
No, I'm good, thank you.
We've gotten to the end of the agenda. If there's nothing further. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor Adams and seconded by Councillor McDougall. All in favour? Aye. Contrary, nay, carried. Just take a second to get unhooked here. And thank you, MLA